You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm back from Amsterdam. It was a long haul, but it was great.
I'm very jealous.
Amsterdam's one of the best cities in the world. If you guys haven't been there,
love it there. I've been there a couple times.
I just loved it.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, just walk around and shops everywhere and art and food and I'm not really into art and food, but I was there.
It's a place for it.
It was just great. I went to the Anne Frank house. I definitely cried.
Yeah.
I got emotional. I wasn't expecting because I had been before a long time ago, but this time it just hit me. I really read the whole story and how her father, surviving the Holocaust and came back only to find out that his daughters didn't make it and just crushed me. And yeah, but Amsterdam was great. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining me. If you're here for Jared Harris, you're a big fan. Well, you came to the right place because I'm a big fan as well. I think when you watch the interview, you'll notice I'm a fan. I was very excited to have him here. It was the first interview we did late at night. I think we did it at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and but he was full of enthusiasm. He was really fun, and we talked about his father, Richard Harris, of course, and his family. Work, Mad Men, Chernobyl, and so much more things that are coming out. He's a true talent, and I just loved him. So I hope I'll get to see Jared again.
It was a delight.
Yeah, and thanks to my friend Gary Marks for hooking that up. Gary, I love you. It was amazing. A few things before we get started. If you do like this podcast and you like the interview, all I ask is give it a chance, subscribe, listen to some more, go down a rabbit hole, and stay with us. There's a lot of great interviews, and I hope you enjoy it. And I appreciate you supporting me in this podcast because there's so many podcasts to choose from. You can go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum. You can follow me if you want. The link tree is there with cons that are coming up, cameos, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, my dog product for your dog's bad breath, and The Talented Farter, my book for kids. It's a sound book. You can check that out. And the Inside of You online store has tons of great merch that you can get, tons of Smallville stuff, autographed. Just take a look at it. You'll love it. Inside of You online store. And of course, sunspin.com for all our new album that came out. You can get vinyls autographed and CDs and books. There's just so much cool stuff. Go to sunspin.com. The album's coming out. There's 4 songs out now. I hope you listen to them and give them a chance. Sunspin, the new album. Welcome to This Life. And last but not least, Patreon. Without Patreon, this show wouldn't be here. The patrons have really supported this show over the years, and you can join. There's different tiers. There's tiers where I send a box to you and messages and Zooms and a lot of great stuff. And you get your name shouted out. You get to be on the show. So check that out. Patreon.com/inside of you. Thank you to all my patrons listening and continuing to support. And yeah, Ryan, anything else?
No.
You got nothing?
No, I think we should get into it.
Let's do it. Let's get inside of Jared Harris.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
First thing you do is you walk in, you start looking around the room. I thought for sure he won't know any of the shit around me, the posters, the Indiana Jones, what's it called? The
Watusu, isn't it? Like, because he holds it up and goes like Watanda Matusu or something like this.
And your wife, you took a picture of the Shaun of the Dead poster?
Yeah, it's her favorite movie. Shaun of the Dead's her favorite movie. We watch it together, and she sits there and she quotes the film. Then she'll tell you all of the references, what the little Easter eggs are as it's happening, what the connections were to when they say this, it's setting up something that's coming up later, or this because of that. Yeah, it's amazing.
Do you like when people are giving you those kind of directions?
I have seen it so many times that I do enjoy that. If I've never seen the movie, it drives me crazy because I want to experience the movie.
And Return of the Living Dead, you like that movie?
Yeah, I remember that. Yes. Because, that was when they started to mix the horror comedy genre. And it wasn't just all about, you know, body horror or violence porn or stuff like which I can't stand that stuff.
Right.
I've never watched a Saw movie. My agent sent me, said, Eli Roth really wants to meet you for Hostel 2. I said, what's Hostel 2? He said, Hostel is this huge movie, Jared. It made lots of money. And he wants to meet you. I said, I've seen Hostel. He goes, go and rent it. And I went and rented it. It was brilliantly constructed.
Right.
You know, really well written. But I had to take 3 showers to get the memory off of me. And I called my agent and said, don't ever do that to me again. In no circumstance.
It bothered you.
It was just this, it was about exciting the worst part of human nature, which is it's about torturing people. It was horrible. And there was also that horrible psychological thing about that film as well, which was that because it was clever in the way that you thought it was about some weird serial killer, but then you realize
all these people are paying.
It was disgusting.
But you know that exists, and that's what haunts you.
Yes, it's the depravity of human nature, of course.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
And then there's Return of the Living Dead.
That was so much fun. That's what I mean, because it was funny. And Evil Dead 2, because it was funny. You know, you could laugh as well as going, oh, like, you know. And
it was a good time.
Bruce Campbell was just, as you were saying, he was Jim Carrey before Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
In his
physical comedy.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Are you pretty good with physical comedy?
I don't know.
Do you like it?
I would have, you'd have seen it probably.
See, I think you could do a lot of great comedy. I mean,
I do comedy. You do physical comedy.
You
qualified it.
Physical comedy.
Yeah.
Like falling.
I do a lot of falling in real life, as my wife will tell you. She says she calls me Calamity. It's my nickname.
Is that your nickname?
Yeah, but please, I shouldn't have fucking told you that.
I thought so. Calamity. I thought you would be more serious.
Well, I can be serious.
Well, you don't have to get serious, but like, are you in real life? Because you're such an actor's actor, and you've trained and you've done all this, but at the same time, when camera's not rolling, are you a bit of a goofball?
Yeah, I know. You like to have fun and, you know, and have a laugh and yeah. I mean, it depends what it's about. You can get serious.
What's a movie you've done or a play or something where you have to stay in it? You can't be joking around. You can't take your mind off things. Any kind of Shakespeare?
I mean, the Shakespeare stuff, you find that when you're in rehearsal, you're pretty serious about. But, you know, by the time you're in the sort of 4th week of the run, people are having fun because you can't stay in that place for 3.5 hours. You'll go crazy. You have to be able to, you know, fuck around below stage. I mean, we would have. I just finished playing Claudius at the RSC in Hamlet. You know, people would be having jokes and you know, literally before they would go on stage, because you can switch into it. You know where that place is now, so you can just switch right into it, do it, and then come off, and you don't have to be there. You know.
Yeah, that seems like I would be so stressed all the time. Like, to me,
but you'll burn yourself out if you do that. You won't make the end of the run.
Have you done that before?
I mean, that's sort of more of a thing if you feel like you still haven't got it. You haven't found it yet, so you're still digging for it, and you're not happy yet. You're still digging, and there were moments in the play where I still was struggling to find something, and so I wasn't pissing around so much in those moments before I went on. But if you haven't feel like you've got it yet, unearthed it yet, then you probably stay focused, you know, and drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. Have you worked with actors who you're doing a show and it seems like they haven't gotten it at all throughout the entire run? They still haven't gotten it, or they're still flubbing lines, and have you dealt with that?
I did. I did a play where one of the actors never properly ever quite learnt their lines, and they would sort of extemporize, and it was a Shakespeare play, and you go, yeah, I'm pretty sure people know what's supposed to be. You can't really make up ad-lib Shakespeare, but yeah, he was
ad-libbing Shakespeare.
Yeah, because he was trying to he was grasping for what the words were, so he would. But I don't want to quote it, was I don't want to embarrass the person.
No, but were you frustrated?
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, but after a while, you realize that that's what it is. So then you have to accommodate and then figure out how you're going to make sure that you can pick the ball up and help that person to the next bit. Mostly it creates anxiety because you want to help that person get to where they want to get to. You can't just leave someone floundering on stage. You have to help them.
Yeah. You just met Bruce Springsteen?
Very briefly, I met him.
You're already smiling.
Well, I went up. It was at the Academy Museum Gala, and he was there, and the thing had ended, and I was sitting there going, I just really want to meet Bruce Springsteen. I'm not going to meet him now. And then he didn't rush out. Normally those guys, like people that big, the security comes and they put a cordon around them. And no, he was fine hanging and everything. And I thought, this is my chance. And a friend was with me. He goes, look, he's still here. Go on. So I went up and he was chatting to somebody else. And I waited until he'd finished that conversation. And before he looked like he was about to move towards the exit. And so I touched his arm and I went, excuse me, sir. And I had a whole little thing. I knew exactly what I was going to say. Don't take up too much of his time. Here's what you're going to say, Jared. It's like 30 seconds and then that's going to be it. And he turned and he looked at me, and his eyes lit up. He went, hey, I know you. And he says, yeah, I've seen you. You're the actor. And I went, Bruce Springsteen knows who I am. And just squeaks came out of my mouth. And I went, huge fan. Oh, I got to go.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You just freaked out?
I just totally lost it. But
he recognized you.
In the most fantastic,
childlike,
the most honest way possible. I just completely, I fanboyed it. But I had a whole thing. I was going to sit there and say that how that I
want to hear what you're going to say.
It was along the lines of I'd written a script about one of his songs. First of all, Nebraska, amazing album, loved it.
Yeah.
That's what it was connected to the movie that's coming out, which is about the making of Nebraska. And then I'd written a screenplay and one of the songs, and he was going to ask me which one. I was going to say Highway Patrolman. And he was going to go, oh, yeah, because 2 movies are made about that. And I was going to say the funny thing is that I had written a script and I gave it to a producer friend of mine who was going to Cannes. And she said, I'll read it. And when I get back, we'll talk. And she got back and she called me up. And I said, well, did you read it? And she said, I did. I said, well, what do you think? She goes, I've got good news and bad news. I said, okay, give me the good news. I read your script. It's really good. I went, okay, what's the bad news? I just saw your movie in Cannes. It was called Miles from Home. Same movie, same song.
What?
Yeah, someone had made that movie. And then I thought, well, I'll wait for a while and then I'll try again. And then Sean Penn made it. It was called Indian Runner. And he would laugh. And we would have this whole bonding.
This is the whole part of it.
Yeah, and I was like, it all went up in smoke.
And you just became a kid again.
As soon as his eyes lit up, I was like, I'm in trouble.
Were you listening to Bruce Springsteen growing up?
Yeah. My elder brother introduced me to it. He sent me out to go and buy the Born to Run album.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just hooked.
Was that your brother that's the director?
Yeah.
Are you guys pretty tight?
Yeah.
You guys did a movie together
tomorrow night. Yeah, we did a movie. That's a bit of a sad story, but yeah, we had a great time working together on it. It was a really beautiful story, a beautiful movie. But the studio that had nothing to do with making the film, they didn't even buy it, but they took the movie and re-edited it and turned it into like the Hallmark version of itself.
Did it just break his heart? Break your heart?
My heart. I suppose my biggest professional disappointment would be that movie, because it was a whole community that came together to help make this film, and the film was funded by it's a school teacher called Stan Dean who had helped this boy called a real person. His name was he changed his last name. It became Nate Dean though. He ended up being adopted by Stan, who was about to become a sort of permanent federal, 3 strikes and you're out. And Stan took him under his wing and straightened him out and helped him basically realign his life. But in doing that, realized that there was this sort of traumatic history, backstory to this boy's life that happened when he was sort of 4 or 5 years old, and that his family had sort of gaslit him into believing this thing hadn't happened. And because he was in a safe space, he started to remember the things that had happened, this particular event that had happened. and you know, the memories weren't coming in a linear way. There were flashes, and he was trying to figure what it meant out. So he finally puts it all together. But you know, and the movie was funded by people who either been taught by this teacher, Stan Bean, or whose children had similarly, their lives had been turned around. And one of the things he would do, because he was a literature and theatre professor there and a director, is he'd see someone in the school who was being ostracized, like starting to drift, and he'd pick that person and he'd give them a part in the school play, but he'd give them a part in the school play where they would shine. And suddenly the whole attitude of the school towards that person, the boys towards that, the student body would completely change towards that person, and their confidence would just...
I wish more people could do that in real life.
Yeah. So, you know, it was made by people who knew this man, who loved him, and yeah. Anyway.
And it just didn't come out the way you wanted it.
Well, they re-edited it into something that was a kind of blander version of it, and yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. Genius. It monitors your spending. I need that. And helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Everybody should have Rocket Money. It's an amazing app. Ryan, you use it. I use it. I've saved so much money on things that I would forget, like streamers, subscriptions to streamers that I wanted to watch a show and then it expires and then I'm still paying money. Rocket Money shows all your expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about. And if you see a subscription you no longer want, Rocket Money will help you cancel it.
Their dashboard lays out your total financial picture, including bill due dates and paydays, in a way that's easy to digest. You can even automatically create custom budgets based on your past spending.
Yeah, if you've got a goal you'd like to save for, Rocket Money can analyze your accounts to find the best time each month to put extra money aside.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. The app automatically scans your bills to find opportunities to save and then goes to work to get you better deals. They'll even talk to customer service so you don't have to.
Rocket Money has saved users over $2.5 billion, including over $880 million in canceled subscriptions alone. Their 10 million members save up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Guys, gals, cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/inside today. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are a time of traditions. Some people have many in their family and some have none or are just beginning their own. Now's the time to reflect on what they mean to you or to rewrite those traditions and make your own. Incorporating therapy into your holidays can help ensure you take time for yourself during what can be a very joyful but sometimes hectic and lonely time of the year. Consider trying BetterHelp online therapy in December as a way to close the year with clarity rather than chaos. With over 30,000 therapists worldwide, BetterHelp is one of the leading online therapy platforms, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews, this December, start a new tradition by taking care of you. Our listeners get 10% off at betterhelp.com/inside. That's betterhelp.com/inside. What's it like, though, being directed by your brother?
It's shorthand because we know each other really well. Very easy.
Like, what would he say? Don't do that.
Yeah.
How short?
You know, he'd say a bit too goofy, or it feels like you're milking it, or, you know, and I could say whatever he wants to say because I wouldn't be offended, you know. And then I could spot what's going on with him, and I'd say to the first AD, go get him something to eat. Like
he's tired.
Yeah, I can see his mood's turning. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we just looked out for each other, and
that's nice.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good experience, and he's got a fantastic sense of humor, and he did an amazing job with that movie because they had no money and no time to make it, and he had to do what a lot of great directors do, which is you got to figure out how to cover a scene in 3 setups. You know?
Yeah.
Which means
what's important?
Yeah, and then you move your actors. You move your actors into over the shoulder. It's what Spielberg does all the time. He moves his actors from a 2-shot into an over the shoulder into a single, and then has them move around. And suddenly you've got a wide master. You know.
Yeah, and movement, energy.
Yeah.
That's what he does. When do you know that in your career, when you get on to a movie set, how soon after do you realize I'm working with someone who knows what the fuck he's doing?
Well, hopefully every single time.
But it doesn't happen every time. Or
I don't know.
maybe it's a sense of direction. You're not getting direction like you need, or he's not being specific enough, or
honestly, I think the only time that it's when you're working with first-time directors if they've written the script, they tend to think like writers more than directors, and they will circle the wagons around their script to protect the script. Whereas a director's not going to do that. A director's going to take the script as material for his imagination to start figuring out what they want to do with it. They want to do something with it. They don't want to just shoot the script. They want to do something with it. And then the other thing, and this is a sort of chat that I would always have with first-time directors, is I would say, I'm going to tell you the mistake that all first-time directors make. And when I tell it to you, you're going to say it doesn't apply to you. But he goes, go on, well, tell me. And I say, here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether the idea is yours or not. Your name is on the movie. And therefore, any idea that you choose to be in the movie is your idea, because that's your job. Every 45 seconds, you have to make a choice and a decision about something. So where the idea comes from is immaterial. The fact that you choose it makes it your idea. And they go, no, they all have to come from that doesn't apply to me. Every single one would say that. Because you'd sit there and you go, you can get an idea from someone who's in catering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, whatever
it's a good idea.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea is a good idea. And you go, well, it wasn't in my thought. I hadn't thought of that. It didn't come from me.
It's too much pride,
script.
Isn't it?
It's too much film
ego.
School. It's too much auteur theory.
Right.
It's still that close to film school where they've had the whole French New Wave auteur theory.
That's kind of like the director you want to work with, is when you have an idea and they're like, it's not ego. It's like, that's a good idea. How can we do that?
It's a good idea.
We're going to have to relight. I'm stealing it. Let's figure that out, because that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I want to make the movie better.
Yeah.
Has that happened a lot while you're?
Yeah. All the good directors, if they hear a good idea, they take it and it's theirs.
How do you prepare for a role? Because I've seen all these roles you've done, and it's just like, Chernobyl and Mad Men and The Crown and all these things, and I'm just like, how much preparation goes into, sometimes you're not given, like, I know that sometimes you'll be hired a week before and you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Is there an example of that where you weren't given a lot of time and then all of a sudden, you had to just dive into it and you had a couple days?
Yeah, there's a bunch of ones like that. You know that whatever it was, someone fell out, or I've got a film coming out in November called Reawakening. That was it's a British independent movie. And I joined that one really late, because that one they were going to put together, and then the pandemic hit, and then they were able to, through the first sort of run of the pandemic, like a year into it, they were able to. People were making films, and we were able to do it again. So they put it together, and the guy that they had originally couldn't do it, and so they suddenly had to scramble to find someone to take over. And I was finishing season 3 of Foundation, and they sent me the script, and they said, this is going to be a quick read, because they're shooting in, I think a week after I finished Foundation, they were going to be shooting, which was about, 1.5 weeks from where we were off, And I read it, and wow, fantastic. So yeah, one of the best pieces of advice is that my teacher told me at school, the principal at drama school, is, you don't have time always to do lots of research, and you have to learn how to sketch, because you're going to go into an audition and they're going to throw something at you, and you have to figure out on the spot how to come up with something, because you don't have 3 weeks to go off and prepare. You don't have 8 weeks of rehearsal. That's not going to be true every single time. So you have to figure out how to sketch. And the first time that really properly landed with me was when I went to audition for Mad Men, because there's such secrecy around that you get this. I got the two sides of two scenes, and all the names are changed, so you don't know who your scenes are really with, because they don't want anything to get out about. And at that point, it was 3 seasons in. There's a lot of media interest in it. So the names aren't the same. The headline, where it says it's taking place, all of it's completely changed. So you've got no idea at all who you're talking to or what's going on, in no context. And I offer the same job to 2 different people, and those are the 2 scenes. So I just thought, I'm a Machiavel, And so I did the audition, and Matt goes, no. He says, why does everyone do the scene the same way? I mean, he says, no. And he explained it to me. He says, look, you've been told by your boss, because they've got some idea that's come through business theory, that competition is a good thing, for you to offer the same job to 2 different people in the same company. You think it's a stupid idea, but you've been told to do it, and you're a good company man. That's what you've done, So that's what it is. And so then I went, okay, now I've got to do, and I went, but I'm English, which means that part of me knows that I'm lying to these people. I'm offering this job for something that I don't think is real. So you're going to be somewhere inside you, you're going to be embarrassed, because all English people are basically embarrassed all the time about something. And so I did it, and it was funny, and after he turned around and said, I told you these scenes were funny.
That's good direction, right?
Yeah.
Something to...
Yes, but I mean, you don't know that ahead of time.
Right.
So you had to quickly on the spot go, okay, who is this person? He's the complete opposite of what I thought he would be, So whatever I had in my mind as a conceptualization of it. So it was the idea of make a sketch quickly.
What about nerves? Like, how do you separate nerves from, because fear gets in the way a lot. I think that's the big hindrance for most of us. Like, we make decisions based on fear. And so, when you get a role and you have a few days or a week to prepare, do you immediately think, can I do this? Or are you confident in, like, I know I could do this?
I mean, no, nerves do kick in. I mean, they always, you can't sleep before your first night on set ever, whatever it is. You've got some huge scene coming up. You can't really sleep that night either, because you don't know if it's going to be there or not. And I mean, sometimes if the things like is hugely daunting, you just have to think about that phrase about eating an elephant. It's one bite at a time, So
I haven't heard that phrase.
You haven't?
No.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You can't think about how do I eat this huge thing.
You just one piece at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the other thing is I remember again watching on Mad Men, these guys are fantastic actors who've been on it for a while, and always almost across the board, not with say John Hamm or Elizabeth, but almost across the board, loosey-goosey in the master and the sort of the loose master and everything, but you then break it down into the close-up, and there's just a little bit of, just a tiny bit less of that sort of the spontaneity and the freedom of thought.
Yeah.
So and I think it just takes a while. I think it's also the environment too, because there's a lot of pressure on that. I think if the environment's comfortable, then you can sort of, you're not worried about getting it right. You can get it wrong. That was the beauty of drama school. If everyone asks me about, is it worth going to drama school? I always say you should, because it's the last time you're not going to worry about falling flat on your face, because the whole idea of those places is for you to fall flat on your face. They deliberately miscast you, so that if you fall flat on your face and figure out why
they want you to fail.
It's you have the freedom of failing. That's the whole idea of it, because you won't have that once you get out. Failure will be too big a risk.
So you don't feel fear failure anymore?
No, yeah, of course I do. Yeah. I just hope that the editor gets me out.
I mean, when you're doing a scene like the scene where you're laying price, right?
Yeah.
Where you're in trouble for embezzling money.
Oh, that scene with John.
With John.
Yeah.
Is that something as an actor do you look forward to? Like, oh, this is going to be good.
It was really, I mean, obviously it was a huge opportunity, but at the same time, I knew I was going to be no longer on the show, so that was sucked.
When did you know that?
So Matt would you do a read through before every episode, and they shoot in order. So the lunchtime before the day that episode's going to start shooting, you get together for a reading, and Matt is always at that, and then he wants to talk to the cast to give them notes specifically because he couldn't come down to the stage floor all the time. He would be there either editing the episode before, or writing the one that's coming up, dealing with problems, But he would make it down for big scenes. They were really important, but most of the time he wouldn't be there. So he wanted to give you the notes and give you little pointers about what to do. And he looks at me, he goes, Jared, don't leave. I need to talk to you. So just take a seat and I'll get to you. I'll get to you. And he walks his way around the room. And he goes, yeah, I see you. Don't worry. I'm going to get to you. And basically got to everyone else. So it was just the two of us. And he goes, let's go up to my office.
You knew?
No, I didn't know at that point. I thought, oh, shit, okay. Have I done something? I don't know what's going on. And then we were waiting for the lift. And Matt is one of the best conversationalists you'll ever meet in your life. If you're sat next to him at a dinner party, you're golden. He's absolutely
charming,
delightful, funny, incredibly intelligent, really knowledgeable. And we're standing waiting for the lift and he starts talking about the weather. And at that point, I went, I'm fucked. What the fuck? And then we walked down the corridor, and as we get to his room, he goes, I've got this really, really good, expensive brandy. Would you like a glass? I went, oh, for God's sakes, what are you doing? You firing me? What's going on?
Oh, you said that?
Yeah. And he went, no, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I'm not firing you, but I'm writing the character off. And he said, but it's a great episode. It's a really great scene. And he pitched it all to me. And when he told me the bit about where the Jaguar won't start, I fell off the chair laughing because I knew it was a brilliant setup.
Yeah.
I think he's an incredible writer because that joke of the Jaguar not starting made you think it wasn't going to happen. Lane wasn't going to kill himself.
Right.
So he set it up that he's going to kill himself. Then he gives you a fake out. So you think, oh, well, that's being paid off. And then when he's hung himself, which he's told you all along is going to happen, you're still surprised. He's incredible.
That's amazing.
But wait, you asked me a specific question. Oh, that scene.
Were you excited?
Yeah. I mean, it was a juicy scene, and you think about all the different tactics that the person's going to use. And for me, reading it, when I was reading the scene, I remember thinking, I can get out of this. I know Jared could get out of this situation. I know exactly what to
That's what you have to believe.
And what to say, that I personally, if I was in this situation, I would not walk out of that room having been fired. Because I knew what to do. I could blackmail them because they had pimped out Joan, and I know that. I could make their life hell. They're not going to fucking fire me. I'm keeping this job. And then I went, well, why the fuck doesn't Lane do all that? Why doesn't he do that? It must have occurred to him, and he couldn't. And that, I'm learning something else about the character, because all the tactics that would be available to me for some reason aren't available to him, And even though he brings it up, he says, who would have heard the word Jaguar? And he kind of brings it up, but he won't point towards, and you pimped out Joan, and I know, how would you think the reputation of this company would be?
Wow.
Yeah, so, it was a good scene.
Yeah.
I do remember I got one tip from John because there was a line about saying, he's saying, I didn't sign it. And I said, yes, you did. You signed it right there. And he signs his checks always on the desk. And I was pointing. I said, you signed it right there. And he went, Jared, I think right there is pointing towards my signature on the check. I don't want to say that. I'm not trying to give you direction, I think. But I think when you're saying, yes, you did right there, I think you're pointing at the check at that point. Good point, John. Thank you.
That's amazing. He was trying to be respectful, but I just want to say
yeah.
Is it weird when you're not going to be on the show? Do you start telling everybody? You feel like you have to just tell?
No, you know what is? I made a deal with Matt because Sherlock Holmes 2 was coming out, and right as we were shooting my last episode, and if they could rearrange the schedule because there were enough days off that I had because I wasn't on every day of it was like a 10 or 12 day shoot at that point for each episode.
Jesus.
that they could arrange it so that I could do the press tour here and then the press tour in London. And I knew that was going to be a big, important move for me, that movie.
Right.
And the line Scott Hornbacher said, I understand, and I've tried to look at it, and I'm not going to be able to. So it's going to be a Matt's decision, but I can't without him saying it. So I said to Matt, if you tell Scott to rearrange the schedule, I promise you that I will not go up for pilot season this year, so that nobody knows that I'm no longer on the show. So when that episode airs, it will be a surprise.
Are you serious?
So he said, yeah.
Wow. So wait, none of the cast really knew?
Well, they did. But my agent didn't know.
What?
He's watching the episode and he calls me. I said, fuck, Chad, you're dead.
You can't be. You didn't tell me.
Yeah. I didn't tell anybody. But my wife knew. She was the only person who knew. Because I came back from that meeting with Matt on episode 10 and was a little bit teary. She said, what's wrong? I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to. Oh, fuck it, I'm going to tell you because I can steal trap. And I told her. Yeah.
Do you like watching yourself?
No.
No. Not at all.
10 years later, I can watch it because you're critical of yourself.
Yeah.
You sit there and you go, why did you do it like that? Why did you say it this way?
Is it more about the looks or is it more about performance?
Performance. You're sitting there, you're sitting there going, that would have worked if you just tilted your head up about a little bit more and then put your focus over there, or you held that moment a bit longer, that would have landed, or something about it. You didn't need to hold, you didn't need to try and drive that bit. You could have thrown it away and it'd been more effective. And you're constantly analyzing.
So you just wash your hands with it for at least years.
Yeah, 10 years later, I can watch it. It's not me anymore.
So you haven't seen Chernobyl?
Yeah, I have seen Chernobyl.
Yeah. I mean, you won an award. You won the British Academy.
It was difficult because I'd sat there and just kept slapping my forehead through lots of it.
I
enjoy it when other people are on screen. I watch them and I love it. I'm completely in it and I'm 100% engrossed in the story.
Who are those actors that you just love watching?
There's so many. That's difficult. There's lots.
I mean, go back, like even to your favorites of all time.
I mean, I was into the obvious guys to start off with, O'Toole and Burton and Dad, obviously, and Finney and Olivier and Brando.
Well, who have you worked with that you just absolutely loved working with and thought, man, this is really a great actor?
I tell you something. I remember because I directed an episode of Mad Men, and so before I did that, I had to shadow for an episode, and watching John Hamm's single made me realize that you could watch his single of a scene in which he's in it, but he's not delivering one of his famous monologues, and you knew exactly what Don Draper thought of everything that was going on in that scene, and you could have played the all the dialogue as a voiceover and just watched his single, and there was a story being told, and Elizabeth Moss was the same way, and that was a real education watching that. I think I remember watching Robert, the way that his relationship with the camera was just really instructive to me, in the same way that I feel when I watched Mel Gibson in some movies, and it's just their understanding of how to use the camera to tell the story that you want to tell and for it to pick up what you're thinking. It was, again, educational.
Did it take you time to transition from theater into movies and understanding just being on camera and how little you have to do or how big you could be, all those things? Like, how long did it take you to really adapt?
Unfortunately at drama school, there was one term where we had our acting for camera class.
Yeah.
And every class was going to be photographed with videotape, so you'd be able to see yourself. And on the third day of school, someone stole all the camera equipment. So it was just another acting class, and so he never got the benefit of it. But the thing is it takes a while of watching yourself to learn what is coming across and what isn't coming across. And mostly in this business, you do that on the job, which is weird. And the thing that I did notice was the second that you can relax on camera, you're immediately a good actor. You immediately become a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, you're immediately good because once you can relax, you can think. You know, and if you can think and allow yourself those thoughts to change what you're doing, to influence what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, when you're going to say it, you immediately become much better actor.
That's so true. I noticed even when I'm acting, the best moments I'll have are when you're completely confident. You're not worrying about all these bullshit things, where the camera is, how far it is, who's there, where your mark is. It's just you're just being, and that's rare, right? It doesn't always happen that way.
It doesn't always happen.
Cameras are stuffed down your face. You got to deliver this speech.
It's like you've got 10 minutes before they're going to pull the plug and stuff. So there's lots of other pressures there. But yes, that's instructive as well, because you're the goal would be for you to be able to relax to the point where you can you're in touch with your impulses, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched. I did a summer where I hadn't worked for ages, and I was doing a kind of workshop production of Oedipus Rex with Al Pacino, and I was the chorus. And I've seen him in theatre many times, and the time that he buys himself on stage is just amazing. And you never feel like you're waiting or it's slowed down or something. There's always a tension involved, you know. And then at one point he started talking about how, because of his home situation, he had to leave school early and start working at a very young age. I forget how young it was, like 10 or something. And so his only real formal education was when he went to the actor's studio, and that's all about the impulse. And you don't say anything or do it until you feel the impulse. So there was his work was all about locating where that impulse is going to come from for everything.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. Ryan, you know how much I love Shopify. I've used Shopify for years. Without Shopify, I don't know if this podcast would exist. Selling my products, it's so easy. Let me just tell you briefly about what Shopify is, and then I'll explain to you how easy it is to use. But Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Look, if you can't design a website, Shopify's got you from the get-go with beautiful, ready-to-go templates to match your brand style. If you need a hand, you can get help with everyday tasks like enhancing product images, writing product descriptions, or generating discount codes with Shopify's AI tools created for commerce. There's so many things. And when I'm putting products up on Shopify, it's really one page, and you just upload a picture of your product, you put a description, how much it weighs. I have this little scale. It cost me $5 or something. And you put your price of how much it is. Shipping and handling could not be easier. I'm telling you, if you knew me, if you've been listening to this podcast, you'll know that nothing comes easy for me. Shopify, on the other hand, it does. I just love it.
Spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools to find and keep new customers.
Yes, it's so easy. I don't think that anybody, once they use Shopify, is going to use anything else. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your 1 month, $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/inside. Go to shopify.com/inside. That's shopify.com/inside. I mean, you talk about your father as one of the icons or one of the people you looked up to acting. I mean, it's been asked millions of times, but I just wonder, because I grew up with my father, and he worked at a pharmaceutical company, and I had my relationship, and that was my relationship, and I didn't see him a lot. He was tough, and he was, I just wonder what it would be like having Richard Harris as a father.
I mean, only had the thing. I get asked this question a lot, but the thing is it was the norm to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but you know, he was a outrageous, huge, larger than life personality. He always wanted. He never sort of imposed rules upon us so that we weren't able to be kids. You know,
That's awesome.
When we would be with him, it wasn't, well, you're in the adult world now and you must behave like adults. It was, no, you're children, you behave like children, and you know, don't worry about breaking something. I remember, I've told this story a lot, but he bought this house in the Bahamas, and when we arrived the first time, it's like an 11-hour flight or something, and we've been stuck on this tube with kids, with all these boys as well, just endless restless energy that you're sitting in the seat of the plane and you're going crazy, you know. We arrive at the house, and of course we've got a football with us. And the first thing we do in the living room, me and my two brothers, we start kicking the football around,
breaking shit.
And he was he'd been divorced from my mother for a while, and he was with his new girlfriend who eventually became his wife. And we start breaking shit, and she goes, "Hey, you know, don't break. So stop playing the ball." And you know, and we could have gotten $50 for that, you know, the thing that you just broke. And Dad immediately gets his back up and he goes, if you can break the other one of those, I'll give you, with your head, with a header, I'll give you $200. So
yeah. You remember that vividly?
Yeah, vividly, because he's basically saying, don't talk to my children like that, you know.
The kids.
Don't impose those rules on them. And here I'm going to incentivize them to basically break rules. Which is what he did. He was a rule breaker, you know. Someone would say you can't do this, as immediately he would go, right, how do I do that?
Are you a rule breaker?
Not like that, no way.
A little bit?
Well, on certain things, but
you can't be such a rule breaker these days anyway.
Yeah, I think it would have been different for those guys if they were in this era. It would have been very difficult, you know, with all the cameras and that are around.
They would have found a way.
Yeah. Well, you do it in secret, which is the great thing about, they weren't doing it in secret back then. They were living their life in public.
Yeah.
You know,
there was no pressure ever to become an actor, or the opposite?
Opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I think they.
Did he say something you like? Don't do this.
I was the middle. So, you know, the middle child tend to be quite argumentative. Like you're fighting your corner the whole time with an older and a younger brother. So they thought, well, he likes to argue, he'll be a good lawyer, you know. And then my elder brother, we all hated school. It was a Benedictine monk school run by his monks, and it was lots of rules, and we hated it. And he manages to get himself out of school early, but my mother said, you're going to have to take your exams, and until you pass them, you're not doing anything else. And I realized that there was no way out of this. So I decided I was going to pass them on my first attempt. So I put my head down and made sure I did. And they went, well, he likes academics as well, so maybe he could be a teacher. And I went, no way. And that's why I came to America. I went to Duke University. And I remember I sort of stumbled into theater. I mean, I'd say I must have been curious about it because of him. But I remember it was end of, what do they call it? Orientation week. And you're basically, you know, you've got all these freshmen who've never been away from home before. I was away from home from 7, so that part wasn't news to me. And they would have all these mixes in the evening with kegs of beer and get you pissed, you know. And I remember it was the Sunday, and I realized I was back in school again. I'd been in school, boarding school, since I was 7. I was like, well, I got out of England, which is what I wanted to do, to get away from my family and figure out what I wanted to do. But I'm back in school again. So this didn't really work out right, exactly. And there was a flyer on the table that said free keg of beer at Branson Theatre. And I thought, I don't know, I'm just going to go along there and I'll figure this out tomorrow. And they were, you know, I ended up auditioning for a play. I got cast in it. It was an Agatha Christie play called A Murder is Announced. And I was cast in like the smallest part in the play, the constable. And years later, the director of that play, I became good friends with him. He taught the acting classes. and he ran the drama program. And he had moved up to New York and had quit theatre and was working for ABC. And my first break was playing Warhol in I Shot Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
And it was opening in New York. And I said to him, come along, you be my date, you know, because you cast me in my first play. Come along and you be my date and walk up the red carpet with me, right? And someone goes, oh, so you cast him in his first play? He goes, yes, you must be very proud of him. Well, I am, because did you ever imagine? Well, no, who could imagine this? He goes, so all those years ago, you cast him in your first play, yes, and you must have seen this great talent in him. He went, no, I didn't see any talent at all. I was doing an English play and I needed him to keep an eye on the accents for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He said that.
He said, I said, that is brilliant. Say it all the way up. Like, every time anyone asks you this question, say that all the way up.
That's amazing.
But going back to the thing about Dad, my mother came to see me in some plays there, and she said, you should go and see him. He's really very good. And he went, well, you would say that. You're his mother. And he didn't come and see me in anything until I'd graduated, and I'd made a movie when I'd been at Duke called Dartmoor, which is a pretentious movie. Really, the only good thing about it was the cinematography, which this guy called Jeff Bennett at the school is a good friend of mine. He taught himself. He's the only genius that I think probably I've ever met. He taught himself cinematography and built a whole dolly system with a track system so we could have dolly shots.
Wow.
He was building a plane in his garage at home. Anyway, he came to see the movie in the afternoon, and he was going to see me in a play. I was an entertaining Mr. Sloan in the evening, and to tell me be a director. And I will never forget, 5 minutes into the play, I got my first laugh out of him, and I could hear it. I knew it was him, and I can still hear the laugh.
Did he have a big,
Yeah.
Like it was just a big
Yeah.
belting?
Yeah. And
man.
I came out at the end of the play and went after we, he got himself cleaned up, met him afterwards by the stage door, and he was just so excited because there was this whole world that we had in common now that he could share with me. And, I would sit and talk to him about, vividly remember him reenacting Olivier's death scene in Coriolanus in the theatre.
Wow.
O'Toole's it was a Brecht play, his Hamlet, all his performances that he'd seen and what their interpretation was and how it was different from someone else's, and what having an interpretation meant, because it meant that you would be leaning on this as opposed to something else. And yeah, it was fascinating.
I mean, what does it mean to you when because I think I've still been waiting for that as a kid to get my father's acceptance for him to say, hey,
yeah,
you're good. It's okay. I mean that's
it means that, I'll never, ever forget it. I can still see the look on his face,
That's awesome. That really is awesome that you can remember that. I'm sure you envision that, or you have this vision even when you're having a bad day, or you think you can't do something. There's Danny DeVito said you disappear into any role.
Oh.
And you said thanks, but that's not a compliment.
No, that's slightly. What happened was I went to go meet him for a movie that he was directing. Good research, by the way.
Gary.
Is it?
Gary Marks, our good buddy Gary.
What happened was I go in to meet him, and I walk in the room, and he goes, God, I just got to tell you, I was so excited to meet you. I really was. I said, I've been meeting all these people today, but I said, when's Jared coming? When's Jared coming? I was really excited to meet you because I had no idea. I didn't know how tall you were going to be. I didn't know what you were going to look like. I didn't know what you were going to sound like, because I've seen your tape, and you're so different in everything you've done. He goes, I was so excited to meet you. It's such a brave thing you're doing. Good luck, kid. You're going to need it. And I went, what do you mean? And he said, really? I have to explain this to you? I said, yeah, I thought that's what the goal was. And he went, let me explain something to you. He goes, a successful actor is a recognizable actor. You're starting from scratch every single time. So you got to hope that eventually it catches up with you. Good luck, kid. You're going to need it.
Oh, my God. Fucking DeVito?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't wrong, Basically, he's saying people hire stars,
Yeah.
They hire recognizable. If you're recognizable an actor, you've got value. to the people who are making it, the people who are
But
funding
you
it.
are. Well, you're now
Right,
obviously
so
a recognizable
this was
actor.
a long time
This is
ago,
a long time
sir,
ago.
a long time ago.
But you've built your presence. And what do you think? I mean, it's a tough question, but I always think, like, what's the toughest time in your life that it was just a tough time?
18 months out of work.
Really?
Yeah. I always remember Michael Dorsey's comment from Tootsie, which is when he's about to go upstate and pretend to be Dorothy and spend the weekend with Jessica Lange's character, and Bill Murray goes, you know, you're going to go to hell doing this, and he goes, I don't believe in hell. I believe in unemployment, but not hell. And I went, yep. That's me. I believe that's it.
So you like, you are happiest when you're working.
Yeah, I love working.
You
yeah.
love working.
Yeah.
You haven't lost a bit of that passion or that little bit of that spark at all.
It's good fun. I just finished a movie up in Winnipeg.
What movie?
Violent Night 2.
Oh yeah,
with David Harbour.
I like the first one.
Yeah, it's good fun.
That's really
the
fun.
The director was really good fun, and just let you play. You know, just let
That's
you
what you
play,
want,
try
right?
different things out, and he'd come and go. He goes, no, that didn't work. That wasn't funny, or it was funny when you do this. And the thing was, you know, you're looking for funny that wasn't funny. Like, not try. You know what I mean? You're
not trying to be funny.
You're looking for funny that's accidentally funny because the situation is serious, but you know there is a funny take on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than yucks. Yeah. And he was really smart and really good.
I mean, with all the serious roles you do, it's probably nice to go up there and just have some fun.
I always try and look for comedy in everything that I've done, find a laugh somewhere.
Even in Hamlet?
You know, well, I playing Claudius, definitely. I got a couple of laughs on that one.
I got a couple.
Yeah, no, I was really proud of him as well. Even, I mean, in Chernobyl, I remember asking Craig that please just give me a joke or something funny. He went, no joke. I said, but the Russians have an incredibly dark sense of humor that for the more desperate and fucked up a situation gets, the more their humor kicks in, you know? There's got to be some jokes here. No, you go, no jokes. In fact, there was one joke in the whole thing, which Stellan had. Yeah. But
what was it? Do you remember?
It was that thing when we were looking at the German, you know, robot that was supposed to clear the debris off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
you're always looking for something.
Always. I think you know, that's one of the things that Spielberg does incredibly well, is that he's building up tension in a scene and he looks for a way to release the tension so he can then build it up and take it higher.
Yeah.
You just get exhausted if someone's pounding on you that way with just the tension without a release. If you think of all the humor that he got into Jaws, I mean, it's just amazing. Or in Lincoln, I remember there was that scene where they're taking the vote. And I was talking to Michael Stuhlbarg about it. And there was that scene where his character says, I vote aye. And in the script, he just says, I vote aye. And that was it. But in the movie, he says it 3 times. And he said, no, that was, Stephen came up to him and said, say it 3 times. And the first time, just mouth it. Don't put any voice, just mouth it. And then the second time, you whisper it. And then the third time, leap to your feet and yell it out really loud. And it was just fucking hilarious when he did it. Really funny. And he's got a really good, incredible sense of comedy. Which again, you don't think that for what his gift is, but he
finds it.
Yeah, and if you look at, say, do you know who Mark Rylance is?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's actually a genius clown, and he works everything off of that innate ability to achieve the pathos that he wants to achieve. If you look at online his performance of Richard II, which he performed at the Globe, the whole thing's on YouTube. And if you look at the very famous speech that Richard II has, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings. Normally, everyone goes for the pathos. Let us sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, or whatever it is they do. They do the Gilgud thing or whatever. He gets legitimate laughs right off the top. Right off the top, he gets legitimate laughs in that speech. And it's not until he gets to the last couplet that he goes
for the dagger.
Yeah.
Wow. When you're playing like King George IV, is it, sixth? What did I say, fourth? Sixth. See, I already fucked it up. But do you feel
inverted it?
Yeah. Do you find it? you're playing royalty. You're playing real life. You're playing. You don't want to fuck that up. Was there pressure on you?
Every day that I go to set, there was a giant poster of Colin Firth as the same character, because that's where they shot the King's Speech. And I would walk out from where my dressing room was and walk to set under this enormous poster of Colin Firth as the same character. And I would, in the beginning, I would look at him going, fucking hell, why didn't they take that down? And fucking hell, something that's bad enough. And then after a couple of days, I went, he didn't look anything like him either.
I'm golden.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it didn't hurt him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Gary told me this story how you played Hamlet in New Jersey Film Festival or New Jersey Festival, and your Shakespeare Festival, and your father played the ghost.
The ghost, yeah.
Just quickly tell me about that story.
Well, our plan was, these are like greatest disasters stories. Our plan was, we'd seen this, the director and I had gone to this art installation in Bryant Park, Madison Park, where this artist had, he had smoke machines that would billow out smoke, and you could project an image onto the smoke, and the image would be captured on and then within the smoke. And as the smoke shifted, your depth perception and what you would see would change. So sometimes you'd see the whole thing, then a mouth or an eye, or and it was really eerie. And he would photograph faces of people and talking and stuff like this, and it seemed like a soul trapped. That's how you do the ghost, right? That's a brilliant idea. That's how we're going to do the ghost. So we pitched it to Dad, and he loved it, and he said, okay, I'll do it. He wasn't excited about playing a ghost, but okay. For my birthday, he said, I'll give this to you as your birthday present, Jared. So we filmed him with this producer who only handled the film shoot in New York. And then when we get up to where it was, we were doing the play in New Jersey. I think it was Madison. Anyway, the footage is taking forever to come to us, and we don't know what's wrong. And then when it does come to us, there's no sound, and we go, "No, there's no sound. We can't see this without sound. How can we decide like what the edit's going to be without sound? Oh, sorry, I'll get it to you. This goes on for weeks, and in the meantime, the smoke system that they have goes every time you turn it on and bellow out smoke. So it's ridiculous. It's not working. Well, we have to get one that doesn't make a sound. Oh, we can't find one, Then when we finally get the footage with sound, you can hear buses pulling up and going boop, 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 boop.
Oh
boop.
my God.
It's just
a disaster.
It's a disaster. So we're spending all this time trying to pull these sounds out. So and then we're trying to put stuff over it, like voices screeching in hell and stuff like this, try and cover it up. Then the smoke thing's not going to work. So we have to project his face onto a scrim rather than the other way. So that idea goes out the window. And then on the first night, and thank God Dad wasn't there for this, on the first night, the whole thing is on a computer, right? Which they're going to plug into the machine, and project it from the booth. About 15 or 20 seconds into that big scene with I am thy father's spirit, but that whole thing, right? Suddenly this sound goes, doot, doot.
Oh no.
Doot. And it's the low battery signal on the computer. They haven't plugged it in. Yeah. So, this was...
He wasn't there, though.
He wasn't there, thank God. But there were some other, classic ones that night where... so I had thought, there's certain famous moments in the play and the decisions you have to make that you have in every production of it. And one of them is, look upon this picture here, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. Where do these two pictures come from, So I think it was either Keane or Irving had come up with the idea that he's got the locket of his father and she's got the new husband, and he rips that off and you hold up the two things. Or often they do it that he has a picture of his father and she's got a picture of a new husband in the room because it's in the bedroom or the closet, and you hold those two up. I decided that Claudius, being an egotistical little fuck, he had already had currency printed of himself. So it would be coins, it would be money. And we know that I wouldn't have money, I'm the prince. She wouldn't have money, she's the queen. Polonius has money, and we've seen him pay somebody to spy on his son, and he's dead in the room. So he's got the money that I'm going to grab, and that's where these two things are going to come from, right? So the actor who's playing Polonius is he's very good, and he manages that line between being a believable chief advisor to the king, and being funny and having the clownish. A lot of people sort of lean on the clown side.
Yeah.
He was believable. He pulled off both. He was very good. And Shakespeare has this thing that if he likes your character, you die on stage, and if not, you're reported as being dead off stage. If you're valuable. So he's on stage but not seen, and he dies. And I decided that he should be seen dying. So I would go and lift him up in rehearsals, and he'd go. You die, right? I go, oh, that wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell, right? And so I first, the same night, this is all happening, I lift him up, and he goes, I forgot the coins.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So then the director had this idea that there's a lot of spying in the play, and he wanted to put the audience in the perspective of you're looking at the people who are being spied upon from the perspective of the spying. So, for example, in that scene where they're spying on Hamlet and Ophelia, when she's handing back the trinkets to him, they're deep upstage, and you're on the perspective. You can see Polonius and Claudius upstage looking in. So we're conspirators with them, right? So in that scene in the bedroom, the room had a big sort of diaphanous curtain around the bed. And so we're seeing it from the perspective of Polonius, who's doing the spying, and he gets stabbed through it. And I'm supposed to, when I see who it is, rip the thing off, look down, and I pull the whole curtain down, and I see him, and I pick him up. But it gets stuck, so it won't come all the way off. And there's all these other scenes that I'm looking at as well, going, how are we going to do the scene at the graveyard with this thing hanging down there, right? I'm like tugging, nothing's happening. And I'm trying to do keep doing the scene, and I'm going back and giving it a tug, right? nothing's moving, right? So I think, okay, I've got to move on. I'll have to figure this out because I've got this scene to pull off. And as I'm doing the scene with the mother, I sort of hear the light, something's wobbling like this, and I look up, and there's this lighting grid, right, which the curtain's attached to. And I see this stagehand, like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean, with a knife between her teeth, and she's crawling along the lighting rig to try and get to the thing that's not cutting it.
And you're just trying to get through it.
I think this is fucking crazy. This is the craziest fucking first
live.
preview ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And your father finally comes.
He came and saw it.
And weren't you a nervous wreck too?
Yeah, of course it was.
And then
also I knew it wasn't what we told him it was going to be as well. So yeah.
But afterwards, didn't you party with him all night?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Till like 6 a.m.?
We had to basically say, Dad, we got a show, we got a matinee tomorrow, get in the car and go back home.
Did he love that attention? Did he love telling stories? Did he love?
Yeah.
Oh man. That's man. This has been, I could talk to you forever. Honestly, you are just like filled with stories, and this has been just fantastic. We didn't even get into Chernobyl. It's just like, how much preparation did you do for that one? That took time.
Yeah. Yes. A lot of that was to do with understanding the science, making sure you knew exactly what you were talking about. So that
it's like Shakespeare in a way.
Yeah.
You have to understand what you're talking about. You can't just wing it.
No, you'd sit there and go, okay, what is xenon gas? What is it? All that uranium-251. That was difficult to do because so many of the sentences started off the same way.
Right.
That last episode, excuse me, it's like a 25-page monologue. But you have, at the time I could explain to you how a nuclear reactor worked, and I could explain to you why that RBMK reactor failed. I knew exactly why. I could understand it. Yeah.
And you wanted to. You had to
because
do
I had
this
to
role.
know what I was talking about. Where you put the emphasis. That you're telling a story, so you have to know the elements of the story that you're telling. I'm in that courtroom telling a story, a narrative about why this thing exploded.
Right. For some reason, I can imagine you telling your wife how a nuclear reactor works. This is how it works, just to show her that you know.
Do you know what I mean? And she'd go, I already know, Jared.
Do you ever bring?
Don't mansplain.
Do you ever bring that stuff home? Does she run lines with you?
No. I mean, occasionally she will, but but not generally, no. I mean, I always say she wants to read the scripts, and she says, I'd rather see it. I want to be surprised.
Yeah. So Violent Night 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
What else?
Reawakening. Violent Night will be next Christmas. It won't be this Christmas.
Right.
I've got a movie, House of Dynamite is out at the moment. And I would encourage people to go see it in the theater.
Yeah, I'm going to go do that.
It's the other bodies around you amplifies
the
whole experience. I liken it to, it's the difference between going on a roller coaster all by yourself or with a whole load of other people.
It's always fun with people.
Yeah, exactly. And then Reawakening is coming out in November, mid-November. And that's about a couple whose 13-year-old daughter runs away from home when she's 13, and they don't know why, and it just devastates them. And 10 years later, this 23-year-old woman shows up and says, "I'm your daughter. I'm back," and the mother accepts her immediately, and the father goes, "I don't think it's her. It's not her." And the irony is he never stopped looking for her in the intervening 10 years. He never stopped looking for her.
Wow.
And the mother at some point resigned herself that she wasn't ever going to come back. And she comes back and the mother goes, "It's a miracle. She's back. Let's accept it." And he says, "No, I need to know. Is it her or isn't it? I can't accept it until I know."
Reawakening sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want you to tell me anymore.
I won't. That's it. That's the setup. And then I got a movie called Reykjavik.
You play Gorbachev.
Yeah, and I don't know when that's coming out. I think that'll be next year.
Are the images, do you look like him?
Yeah, I think we did a really good job. I mean, you want to be...
I'm excited
I always
for that.
think with that stuff, you need to... You don't want to look... You don't want to disappear, because if you disappear, I think the audience are going, where are they? And you're constantly going, oh, that sounded a bit like him, or that, you can't disappear completely.
Right.
So you have to be able to see both. Love and like them, that they can, you tilt towards who they are. And honestly, with that guy, once you stick that thing on your forehead, you're
him.
You're 80% of the way
You're there.
Yeah. And that stars Jeff Daniels as Reagan, and it's about the summit at Reykjavik to end the Cold War.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that a lot of fun?
Loved it. Love that. Jeff is fantastic. Really. And a great script. Fantastic material from the transcripts. And you'd sit there and you go, come on, they didn't
That's
say
exactly what happened.
This is exactly what they said.
See, you're working. So there's no 12 months off or 16 months off. You're happy right now.
Yeah, I just finished something. I'm very happy. Give me enough time. I'll start to go like...
I want to do what you do for fun.
What do you mean?
I mean, what do you do for fun? Like,
what do I do?
Do you
for
go
fun?
play miniature golf? Do you bowl? Do you?
I enjoy bowling. Went bowling. We're
I'm a bowler.
Yeah, I did a little bit of bowling. What I did was they did the kids bowling thing where you only the 5 pins with a small. It's a lot harder.
Yeah,
a lot harder than 10 pin.
Yeah. Well, isn't the Canadian 9 pin? Is that what it is, or 8 pin?
No,
what is it?
No, that's 10.
Is it 10?
Yeah, we're up there. Yeah, it was 10.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. I go out, meet friends, eat good food.
You like watching a lot of movies at home?
Go to the theater.
What are you watching right now on TV?
I just was watching Alien Earth.
I've only seen one episode. Is it worth watching?
I liked it. I mean, I love that whole franchise. And
I love it.
To tell you the truth, I've been waiting for just come to Earth already. Like all of these alien movies. Like,
yeah.
I wanted, we've been living with this threat from the very beginning, and that this corporation is trying to bring this creature to Earth. I mean, bring it to Earth and let hell loose.
Did you love the movie Aliens?
I just watched the making
autograph poster, the entire cast,
wow.
Bill Paxton, everybody.
I just watched the documentary, the making.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I saw it too.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to end.
No. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, you always forget that James Remar was the original.
I know. And then he got
Hicks.
drug busted like
Yeah.
on his way there. What
Which
a great
would have been
actor.
interesting. It would have been quite an interesting, different version of Hicks.
It would have been a tougher version, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, James Remar is a wonderful actor.
He is. I remember the Warriors. Remember the Warriors?
Yeah, that's the first time I remember seeing him. Yeah.
Oh
They're
yeah.
fantastic. And he's brilliantly cast as well by What Lies Beneath.
Oh yeah.
Because you think he's he always plays the bad guy, so he's
Right.
the husband next door, the wife that's disappeared, and you immediately go, well, it's obviously James Remar.
See, you do like horror. You do.
That's not horror. That's sort of Hitchcockian suspense.
Okay. Well, thriller.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. This has been an absolute joy. Will you come back someday?
Sure.
This has been awesome. I loved having you here.
Thank you.
I thank you for taking the time.
Not at all.
Come back and see us.
I would love to.
All right.
Yeah, I could tell you my story when we went to see my father. We went to see Bent at the theatre in Broadway, and which James Remar was the star of. No, he's one of the stars. Richard Gere was the star of it, but James Remar.
And you went with your father?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
You want to tell you that story?
If you want. Is it a good story? You could save it, but people are going to go crazy.
So we go to see Bent, and the play opens, and it's the sort of the night after a big night that these characters have had a big night boozing, and James Remar comes bursting out onto stage completely naked, right? And James Remar is very well endowed. And my dad goes, Jesus Christ. He goes, would you look at the size of that? Right? And then he says, we all know what his warm-up was. Right? And so then Richard Gere comes out and the play starts. And after about, 20 minutes, he's not enjoying the play. And he goes, I'm going to have a cigarette. And off he goes. And he goes out and we're sitting watching the play. I'm there with my brother and my father's one of his best friends called Terry James. And after about 20 minutes, suddenly his voice goes, I've been standing outside in the feckin' cold for 20 minutes. Why don't are you staying or are you coming? Right? And we look over and his dad at the end of the row. And of course, we've got great seats, right? We're 4 or 5 rows back from the stage, center of the stage. And people are starting to look and they're going, oh, it's Richard Harris, right? And he goes, are you staying? Are you going to stay and watch this shit? And we go, he goes, look at her on stage now. Look at them on stage. And we look at her on stage. They're supposed to be on a train, right? They're supposed to be on a train. And we go, yeah. And he goes, all the guards, they're bouncing around, right? They're on a train. And then everyone else is standing completely still, right? And the people go, oh yeah, that's true. They look around that. And my friend, and Terry James, his dad's friend, goes, boys, this only gets worse. Up, we leave now.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Were you mortified or was
mortified? In which I think he should know better. I mean, that's a total foul. Actor foul, audience foul, theatre foul.
Did he really say, would you look at that?
Well, no,
loudly.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was one of those guys. He just says what's on his mind.
Yeah. Well, it was that more outrageous, the better. Yeah.
Was it really that big?
He was. I would say he was a
large man.
Not be a shy man at all. Yeah. That's my memory.
That's a perfect ending. That's it. Oh, thank you. If you want to get closer to the show and help keep Inside of You going, well, head to patreon.com/insideofyou. Members enjoy a ton of cool stuff. Bonus podcast, early look at new episodes, and exclusive Q&As you can actually join. Some members can even make an appearance on the show. Isn't that cool? I've already interviewed some, and they're really fun. It's nice to talk to real folks, not just actory folks. And, you get special shout-outs every week. There's tons of stuff. Your support really keeps this podcast alive. So jump in and be a part of what makes Inside of You special. Jared, you're the man. That was awesome. I'm going to learn how to do an impression of you. You have such a distinct voice.
I know.
I can't even do it. Well, when you're doing this thing, it's somewhere in there.
It's somewhere in there.
It's a tough one,
That
but
was good. It was a good one.
I loved it.
So many other interviews at night.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Yeah, keep listening. There's some good episodes coming up. But right now, we're going to shout out at all our top tier patrons who give back to the show, and couldn't do it without them. Here we go. No particular order because these folks are all just awesome. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H, Niko P, Rob I, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Stacey L, Jamal F. By the way, if you're a patron and I'm reading your name out, if you didn't get a box for some reason, make sure your address and all that stuff, your updated address, is where it should be when you sign up. That's important. And but we'll figure it out if you don't. Occasionally somebody doesn't get a box and there's a mix up, but it rarely happens. Bryce is always on it. I'm on it. Joe's always on it. And but feel free to reach out to Bryce or the Inside of You. There's like the hello at Inside of You podcast or something that you can go to. People leave messages there. I don't always check those, but
yeah,
whatever. Stacey L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike, Eldanzsupremo, 99 more, Santiago M, Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave Hall. It was so awesome seeing Dave Hall in Liverpool. I got to meet Dave Hall.
That's great.
It was so cool. He was so sweet. He was wearing his Inside of You 5-year jacket that I got him. And he was just so happy to be there. And I was so happy to see him. We made some videos and took pictures. And Dave, I hope you had a great time because I did. And be good to yourself, buddy. Always. There's a lot of love for you, Dave. Brad D, Ray, Harada, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, David G, Betsy D, Sweet Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Mr. Melsky, Eugene R, Eugene, how's that kid? Monica T, Mel S, Eric H, Oracle. Ryan, read a few of these lovely people's names.
I will.
I'll just smile.
Okay. Amanda R, cut to Michael smiling. Kevin E, cut to Michael smiling. Jammin J, Leanne J, Luna R, Jules M, Jessica B, Frank B, Jen T, Randy S, Claudia. Should I read them like nominees?
No, you should.
Rachel D.
You should do a little faster, though.
Nick W, Stephanie and Evan Stephen.
Stephen.
Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B76, NG, Tracy. I'll stop there.
Okay. Keith B, Heather and Greg.
Grother.
Ellie K, Ben B, Pierre C, Sultan, Dave T, Dave, Brian B, T Paul. Can I have some T Paul? I always say that. Gary F, Jackie Justice, Ritzel Pitzel, Benjamin R, other brother, Daryl, Ivan G, Mark S. We love you. From the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California. I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Tays. I've been here as well.
Yes. What else we got here? A little wave to the camera, I guess. And please be good to yourself. Please. You're all you got. So, take care of yourself for God's sakes, and come back and see us next week. And until then, we'll see you.